final panel discussion. And this time we're going to be tackling diabetes, creating diabetes friendly meals with nutrient rich choices. Now, of course, living with diabetes comes with its unique challenges, but that doesn't mean that they should eat or give up flavor, variety, and things like that at the table. So we still have Mudita with us. She's going to be taking the hot seat once again. And of course, I'd like to invite Dr. Nazat Ashan to join her. Please put your hands together for these lovely ladies.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, it is such an honor to be again on the stage with Miss Mudita uh, on this fireside chat on creating diabetes-friendly meals. But this is the last of the session of the 3-day conference, and I see very few people turning up here. I know that you must have absorbed so much of knowledge by now, but we will make this a very fun and engaging session. We'll try to make it as much interactive as possible, not too much of load on your intellect. But yes, we would like you to engage and participate fully in this. And we'll bring up very light because this will be a tasty one, I must say. So, yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Hassan. So,
Yeah. So let me first say that, to kickstart this session, I must say that in the first place, why we are talking about creating a diabetes-friendly meals, like why it is so important, because food is such a powerful choice in our lives. It can be the best of the friend and the worst of the enemy. I read it somewhere that if you do not take food as medicine, you will have to take medicine as food. And that is so true that these days we are gulping more and more medicines just in order to be healthy. So we have to remember that. So, but don't worry, Miss Mudita and I are here to show you that diabetes-friendly meals need not be very boring, but they can be tasty as well. And as a neurobiologist, I find it very fascinating that what we eat impacts not just our bodies, but our brains, emotion, and long-term health. Did you know that diabetes increases the risk of Alzheimer's disease? It leads to cognitive decline. And diabetes is also called type 3. Alzheimer's is also called type 3 diabetes. That's how deeply interconnected the blood sugar, the brain health, and everything is connected. So today we'll break down this with a little engagement section where we'll put up questions for the audience. And you will leave the room with better food choices. The first segment will be why nutrient-rich meal matters. Okay, so Mudita, let's dive into the science first. So because poor dietary choices, as from a neurobiological perspective, I should say, that leads to inflammation inside the body. So we should understand that from where the taste comes from, why we have nutrients in the first place. Taste evolved as an evolutionary tool in order to detect between the nutrients and to avoid whatever toxins it is. But now we have a modern mismatch that industries and the people who are selling food, they have exploited our taste buds, and we are getting foods which are not good for our health, and that has created a hell lot of problem. So today I would like to ask Mudita, like, what are the some ways we can incorporate nutrient-packed ingredients into everyday family meals without making the food feel restrictive or boring?
absolutely, Dr. Hassan. I think when we incorporate healthy ingredients into our daily meals, uh, this can be a very good way to improve the nutritional value of the diet. We call it nutrient-rich foods or NRF. So some of the ways how we can do it is, as we all know that I'm sure we love smoothies. So adding some greens to your smoothies, adding different color fruits like blueberries, strawberries can add the nutrient. They are packed with nutrients, so they can add the nutrition value to your snack or smoothies. Now, using whole grain alternatives, like instead of rice or pasta that's made up of all-purpose flour. Nowadays, you can get pastas made with chickpea flour or garbanzo beans, or like in Hindi we say chole. Like we can get uh, more high protein pasta nowadays, uh, and that can definitely help reduce the carbohydrate content of these foods as
That
well.
is wonderful. Yeah.
Now, exploring different cuisines. We are, I'm sure some of us are adventurous eaters. Definitely, some of us might try to stick to our cuisine like that we are most comfortable with, but exploring other cuisines can add to the nutrient value of your food. Focusing on whole foods instead of just refined foods definitely help. Like with your vitamins and minerals, fibers, just constitutes a balanced diet. Uh, I think Valerie in the previous panels talked about seasonal and local produce. Uh, Seasonal and local produce sometimes is most economical, and we don't get some things year round, right?
Yeah.
Like in some certain fruits are mainly available in, say, summertime. So take advantage of that. Like when they are available, incorporate that in your diet. um, I always say, like, spice up your food. Experiment with different herbs and spices can add flavor and some much needed nutrient profile to your food. And also it can also help reducing the salt in your diet if you use some herbs and spices such as lemon pepper. Instead of using salt, you can reduce the sodium content of your food. uh, Planning and prepping ahead of time definitely can help, so that we are not having, like, some things can stay in our refrigerator for days and days because we just we maybe didn't plan well. Or we also forget that when we are bringing, say, a vegetable or a fruit from the grocery store, we do not know for how long it's sitting there. And now we bring it home and it's sitting in our fridge for another 10, 12 days. So it can lessen the nutrient density of those foods. So try to do some planning and prepping ahead so that it is your foods conserve their nutrients, but also it's good for your pocket as well. We are not wasting a lot of food that
That
way.
means you mean to say we have to be very active while thinking about the food we are going to eat. Because in India, we spend a lot of time preparing for the food for the day. We usually prefer fresh and healthy food. As you know, that the Indian culture promotes, the ladies are busy throughout the day preparing the food. So yeah, we have to strike a balance in how we can preserve the food for a long time, but with the nutrients, do not overcook it or overheat it.
Yeah.
So that is very important also. So do you have a favorite diabetes friendly recipe that is hit with the families?
Yes, I was just wondering about, that myself, that the winter time is coming and a lot of people like soups or stews in the winter time. So one of my favorite recipes or one of my favorite dish is the spiced ginger carrot soup. Is packed with nutrients such as vitamin A. You have, like it's
So how
bright
do you
in its
make
color.
it?
Okay,
Just a
so
quick recipe.
uh, just like quickly, if I say, just saute some onions, finely chopped onions, just add some grated ginger to it, very less, like just a sprinkle of salt and black pepper, and put some diced carrots. If you're vegetarian, you can put vegetable broth in it, or if you can take chicken or bone broth, you can add that as well. And once it is, it sometimes you can pressure cook it, or you can steam it well so that the vegetables are fully cooked. You can emulsify them or blend them, and uh, garnish it with maybe just a dollop of cream or um, sour cream. And sometimes you can also use, say, gorgonzola cheese just as an accompaniment, because the flavor of gorgonzola is very, it's complementary to the sweetness of the carrot that
So
brings. So
the reason why I asked you to share the recipe is that experts are always experts. Today we have like number of YouTube channels sharing recipes and different kinds of influencers on the social media where we learn like how to cook and what foods to include in our diet. But I must say that a lot of these, like when I was watching over the recipes of lot of these food, they are not healthy at all. The way the techniques are employed for cooking of some of the, like, some are very crazy, like frying, I do not know, frying some items which are like they were frying the grapes in a big pan. You might have seen that video was going viral. So the point we make here is that do not rely everything and anything present on the social media. So we have to be very smart in making the choices, and it is very important to know the technique of cooking and how to eat food properly. For example, me and Mudita were discussing over just before the lunch, that spinach, which we usually have as sometimes in smoothies we have.
Smoothies, yeah.
Also, what is the better way to have a spinach? Whether to have it in smoothie because it is very heavy, I came to know from her. So she is a registered dietitian. So I would like to advise, and Mudita also will agree with me, that you have to have, when you are going through a chronic disease or metabolic disorder like diabetes, which we are discussing right now, or any other disease, you should meet a dietitian and then get your meals planned. And that's how you learn, educate yourself. And that's what we are here to discuss about. What do you say, Mudita?
Absolutely. I think I have always believed in investing in your health. Uh, for example, we can go out for dinner tonight and we can spend like 500-700 dirhams and we would not blink an eye. But if it comes to getting a nutrition counseling, we might think few times like whether it's worth it, whether it's worth my time and money and all. No, like I said earlier too, this body is the most important real estate you'll ever own. So invest in this. Go to an expert. uh, Ask your doctor. Physicians are very good about referring. If they do not refer themselves, and just say, could am I able to see a registered dietitian? And you don't have to go to an extent to have diabetes or a renal disorder or cardiovascular disease. Invest in preventive maintenance as well of your body. So definitely
And
agree
food
with
is
that.
such an important ingredient that we have to remember that we have we don't have to do excess of anything, and then we don't have to also cut down on everything as is usually thought about diabetes. That we have now, Mudita will discuss in detail that how we can swap for healthy ingredients just to make the balance of it, but there is no necessity in cutting any of the foods we love. Even in diabetes also, just if we are mindful of the portions we are having, and we are having a what to say, correct calorie we are consuming, then I think we are doing our job well. And Mudita, tell us more about calorie counting, which you're discussing, right?
Absolutely, Dr. Hassan. So I always say that diabetic diet is a calorie control diet. It is essentially a calorie control diet. It is not a food elimination diet. This is not about saying you stay away from this, stay away from that, unless until that is needed for some other reason like food allergies or things like that. It's We use a simple technique called carbohydrate counting. So, and you'll be amazed that carbohydrates can add very quickly. So, one carbohydrate exchange is 15 grams of carbohydrate, which is equal to, say, one slice of bread or one roti or half a banana or half an apple. So, they'll start adding very quickly. So, your dietitian can help you know how many exchanges of carbohydrates you need in a meal, which will add up to, say in a whole day, how many carbohydrate exchanges will add up to make up for the calories that are prescribed for you. So now, having said that, those four exchanges of carbohydrates, say for your breakfast, try to make the try to make the best of them. So rather than just having, say, a slice of white bread, like four white breads, or one big bagel that is equal to four exchanges of carbohydrates, try to incorporate more whole grains. Not so much refined grains, but whole grains, complex carbohydrates, because they can stay in your system longer. They'll possibly give you a feeling of fullness, and you're not going to get hungry. Like eating a donut versus eating some complex carbohydrates, maybe let's say a granola, or a cereal with high fiber, possibly will be a little bit of more benefit than
Yeah, yeah,
refined
definitely.
sugars.
Yeah. So I completely believe in that. But we see two extremes of diabetic population. One who is extremely conscious, and that is also not true, because diabetic complications does not only occur from hyperglycemia, which we usually feel that we have a high blood sugar, like if you are taking more breads or for that purpose, like you talk high carbohydrate diets, and we are on junk food or something like that, and the total blood sugar level rises. But in a larger part of the population where people are too much I would say extra careful for that, they go into hypoglycemic shock, and the blood sugar level actually drops and go into coma for that. And I had I remember like there was a condition in my family where one of my aunts, she went into a hypoglycemic, I think, coma, and couldn't recover from that. And this is because like people have the notion that if they get diabetes, they should cut down on everything, and they should be living on minimal means, which is not true. As we can see that we can have very healthy swaps and healthy diet. So can you discuss some swaps which we can do, like in a biryani, instead of the high carb, or in a
Rice.
pasta,
Yeah.
how can
Yeah.
we just have a healthy meal without
So we definitely
starving?
need to take advantage of the variety of foods that's available to us now. So instead of, say, if you're making biryani, then you know, incorporating brown rice instead of white rice. Um, uh, we might have to get used to the flavor profile, and
Yeah,
it might be
definitely.
an acquired taste for some of us, but in a long run, it can help. Uh, Maybe like another example would be pasta. Like nowadays you can get chickpeas pasta made from chickpeas rather than the all-purpose flour. How about having fruits instead of drinking fruit juices, like, sometimes it takes about three oranges,
And
juice
it's
of three
just a
oranges to
small
get
change, I
just
believe.
a small change, but it can be helpful in a long run. And these are the baby steps you can take, because if you try to do too much too soon, it's not going to stick. So just know what you're capable of doing, and don't underestimate yourself. You can be capable of doing way more than what you think. um, uh, so just when we were talking about the fruit juices, like, rethink your drinks, like when you how are you hydrating yourself, like, so that can help, like sugar sweetened sodas or beverages, and also, like, we don't realize that these sugar sweetened sodas, how do we get these fountain sodas? How do we, when we open the can of Coca-Cola, or like, when we open a can of soda, like, what comes? It's like a fizz, right? It's a sugar syrup and carbonation. That's all we are drinking. So I, I believe that the end product of a carbohydrate metabolism is CO2, but then now we are already adding the carbonation. We are already ingesting so much carbonation. So think about it, how much more work your lungs or your body organ has to do to eliminate that CO2,
But
from your
those
body.
habits, like it is I must say, like again we come to again and again throughout these 3-day conferences, which I feel the crux of all the talks comes to, that we have to intervene early, build habits early, so that later in life it becomes difficult. I don't say it is impossible. Of course there is never a time not to start something good, but yes, so I'll share just a personal experience, like how do I train. Like I have a 9-year-old son, and yeah, he's too skinny, and perhaps I went too, I will say, uh, I was too conscious not to put him into bad habits of eating, or even for that matter whatever habits are there for screen or anything. So when he was just 1 year old, some friend of mine, he came and then gifted a packet of chocolates, dairy milk. It was a big packet with 20 or 25 or so chocolate. So, and children are attracted to the colorful packets. So you cannot stop them from not eating. So but he had never tasted till that time. So because I was never giving, I have never eaten before him also any junk food. So I gave him one chocolate each day, saying that chichi bad, you go and throw in the dustbin, and he did it for I think 20 days. And after that, he never had a candy. And after coming to Dubai, here he has tried candy after being 7 years of age. So that was a great success. But then again, it is a difficulty. He doesn't eat out now so much. I have to make him eat little bit. So that's how you have to inculcate the habits early on. And I'm very much like, these topics are very close to the heart when we are going to discuss, because everything now we have will move into the another section where we are going to discuss the brain and gut connection. So whatever we are eating, we just don't have to think that it is satisfying our taste buds and goes into the stomach, gives us some kind of energy, and then we are done with it. No, it's not like the case. So whatever we are eating, it has to do something. It is doing something there, because even our gut has a brain. Now science is saying that gut is having the second brain. So what it is doing there, what food we eat is affecting the microbiome inside our gut. And this microbiome, whatever these bacteria and all these flora and fauna residing in our stomach, they produce some short chain fatty acids, and these help in insulin sensitivity, improving the insulin sensitivity. So if you're taking the wrong kind of food, you'll agree with me on this, that if you're taking the wrong kind of food, we are disturbing the microbiome of our stomach, and then it goes into producing long term harmful effects of our body. Just because we don't see it, we don't understand it. We can understand it this way: like, if you are into like freaking cleanliness and you wash your hands like 100 times a day and go and use the sanitizer, after some time you'll start getting fungal infections, I have seen, because you are destroying the normal bacteria on your skin. So if you are washing too much, it's not good. And that's also true for the stomach. Like, if you are eating some purgative kind of foods or something, you're doing excess, it is going to destroy the flora in your stomach, and then it leads to bigger complications. So what we have to do is that, as you're saying, that you can add more to it, like how to add probiotics in our diet so that it maintains the microbiome. Do you want to add something to it?
So I just definitely what you said, Dr. Hassan, I agree with that. And I say that, you know, people with diabetes can also experience extended digestive problems, because such as gastroparesis, because it it your stomach can take longer to empty, and that can cause bloating, sometimes even nausea or heartburn. So so diabetes has a very good relationship with relation with the gut, and the poor blood sugar can if we don't control it, then it can of course lead to the poor gut function. But if we watch what we are eating, if we educate ourselves in how we can improve the gut microbiome, like especially if we are having blood sugar issues, then ultimately the GI,
Will
like,
improve.
will improve,
Yeah.
health will improve.
So, and it is very alarming. You see, like when you are eating something and the gut microbiome, as I said, is affected, it leads to cognitive decline also. So, the more you start eating junk, then you will not be able to think after some time what to eat and what not to eat, because then your gut will be guiding you of eating unhealthy. So, that habit a kind of builds a cycle in itself. So, always you have to be mindful when you take that first bite of uh, the best way to stop eating wrong is that always mind your bite. I would say, when you're opening your mouth to take something, just at that point think whether I should take it or not, and that is the point which will decide, no, it should not go into through this, because it kind of retreats into we fall into a cycle of not eating healthy, and it is interconnected, leading to the cognitive decline, and we will not be able to come out of it so easily. Then we go into treatment kind of procedures, which is not very recommended when we are talking of uh, some kind of getting into a holistic well-being. What do you think? Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I believe that a healthy gut
Hmm.
may be the missing link between, you know, how we are managing diabetes and how well it can be managed. But also, like, some of the tips for maintaining the gut health with the if if we have diabetes is we can incorporate some fiber rich foods in our diet.
Exactly.
It's, you'll be amazed that I'm coming from US, and how many of us like lack fiber rich diet. We call it standard American diet. It's SAD. It can be lacking in fiber, so make a conscious effort to add fiber to your diet, like to have those 9 to 12 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Whole grains are rich in fiber. They also help you maintain the stable blood sugar levels, like you were talking about the glycemic index, or the how somebody can go in hyperglycemia, like so that can help. Another way is like staying hydrated. uh, we'll be amazed to know that how many of us do not drink you know enough water during the day or stay hydrated, especially it is with the geriatric population. This is a very big concern. Adding prebiotics or probiotics in the diet. Uh, I, like I have some friends from Southeast Asia, some from Southern India, and I absolutely love their practice of eating a yogurt rice or curd rice at the end of the meal. What they are doing is practically adding the probiotics in the diet. And last but not the least, it's easier said than done, but manage your stress. If you can somehow like find a good, uh, you know, uh, uh, stress management
And will you agree
issues.
that food
Yeah,
helps in managing stress also?
absolutely.
If you
Yeah.
eat healthy, ultimately you will be able to manage your stress also
Yeah,
nicely.
but Dr. Hassan, when somebody is stressed out, you will be amazed to see like how quickly the food
Default,
habits,
yeah.
the good, even they can default to overeating or binge drinking. Maybe they're just binge watching TV and don't even realize that they have already finished one tub of ice cream or one
I have
bag of
seen, yeah.
chips. So portion control is huge with
I completely
diabetes.
agree, yeah.
So yes, stress, and that's what I said, it's easier said than done, but it is not
Yeah,
impossible.
so from this, like the key takeaway is that moderation is the key. So even water, if you say is useful for your body, you cannot drown and die in it. So excess of
Yeah.
anything is bad. So that the old saying is true, remains true. That moderation in every sense is going to help you in whatever you do in life, not just in creating this diabetes friendly meal which we are talking about. So let's quickly move on to the engagement section.
Yes,
Okay, so we'll
absolutely.
ask some questions to see what you know or do not know, and it will be, I think, fun. So, can anybody tell that whether it is true or false? Sweet potatoes are healthier than regular potatoes for managing diabetes. True. Yes, you know that. Yeah. So, because you are from a health background, I think the next answer you should not be giving. Udit.
Oh, that we love to hear from you
Yeah. So,
though.
why sweet potatoes do you think are healthier than potato?
Is the white potato, you mean like the sweet potatoes is
Because
better
it
than
is
the
called,
white
actually
potatoes?
there is a misconception, like in the families I have heard, they consider the sweet potatoes are not good. Okay, they think the sweet potatoes are
Will
sweeter and they have more sugar in it, but it's a very big misconception, because sweet potatoes are having lower glycemic index. Okay, so that's why, and it is healthier. So next question, yeah.
Yeah. So, which type of fat is considered the healthiest for people with diabetes? Saturated fat or unsaturated fat?
Anyone?
Well, we have put, you know, restriction on Udit. So, uh, any
Saturate.
takers?
Priyanka, right? Priyadarshini, yeah. So you are telling
Uh, so the right answer is unsaturated
unsaturated.
fats. So foods like olives, avocados, nuts, and seeds. The oils made from them are rich in
Yeah.
unsaturated fats.
So that means you can swap your ghee or butter with olive oil. That is more, yeah. So that is called unsaturated fat usually, yeah.
Yeah, saturated fats usually get solidified at room temperature, but unsaturated will still stay liquid. Uh, these fats can improve your insulin sensitivity, and they can lower the inflammation too. I was listening to Udit, on several different panels, and what you do in integrative and functional medicine is amazing. Like we are just in awe of that. I think in the Western world we need to adopt more and more of that. But I know it's a very upcoming field. Having said that, I we just try to do from our clinical dietitian perspective, like just help and educate our clients to just live healthy, using their resources the best. So having said that, if any fat is getting solidified at room temperature or upon refrigeration, then it has higher saturation that can lead to more inflammation and insulin resistance.
That is a good piece of information, I think. And so I'll go with the last question. I think we have run out of time. Yeah. So eating fruit will raise your blood sugar levels too much for people with diabetes. So what do you think? Eating fruits? No, it's false. So yeah, yeah. Udit, you can add to it. Mhm. And the choice of fruit is also very important, like that you can include lots of berries, citrus fruits, and they're very rich in, as you said, rich in vitamins, minerals. So you cannot cut down on your fruit intake. If you are diabetic, you can choose your fruits wisely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
let's wrap up,
Yeah.
Mudita. So can you give one closing remark or call to action,
Yeah.
or whatever you feel like, because we have run out of time and people have also run
So this is what I'm looking at. I think Dr. Ehsan and I might be standing between you and closing of the conference. So we will make it quick. Thank you everyone for your kind attention, and thanks to Dr. Ehsan for making this fireside chat into a great learning opportunity. We clarified few doubts here. And if there's a takeaway that I would like for you to go home with today is, um, educate yourself appropriately. Google cannot give you all the answers. Please ask your physician, your primary care provider, or your GP to refer yourself to the experts who can actually help you manage your diabetes better. uh, in the meantime, you can master your portion control. uh, you know, uh, even a skilled professional can underestimate the calories by 200 or 300 calories per day, and a layman can go up to 6 to 700 calories per day. You can just underestimate them. So think about it. If you're eating 600-700 extra calories every day, it adds up. In your diabetes management. And then build a balanced plate with carbohydrates, with proteins, and fiber packed veggies. Uh, put indulge in quality, and like I said, eat foods that are worthy of you. So not just anything and everything, but the foods that are worthy of you. And last but not the least, we all snack, at some point of day. So snack smarter. So again, going back to that, educate yourself appropriately. No shame in your game. You don't know something, go ask an expert. And
so
do not hesitate in investing in your health. That's the best thing you can do. So refer to an expert, whether you want to go to a Western, you want to go to the IFM expert, you just integrative or functional medicine expert. Please educate yourself. We always say diabetes is truly, like we say it's a disease, it's just a symptom that other things can be going wrong in the body as well. So
yeah.
listen to your body, educate yourself, and spread
So
awareness.
well said, Mudita. So I would end by saying that balanced diet will definitely keep endocrinologists away, and it will give a power over your body. And because we are closing now, so I would just like to end up with few lines that blessings on science when earth seemed old, when faith grew doting and reason cold. It was she who showed the world was young and taught a language to its lisping tongue. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having us.